What's up, everybody? It's Marconius Porkbutt from TheMittaniTV.com, and I'm here to talk to you today about torpedoing stuff in Wargaming's title, World of Warships. So for those of you that don't know, World of Warships pits 4 different ship classes against one another: the destroyer, cruiser, battleship, and aircraft carrier, in a kind of King of the Hill style team battle. While most of the game revolves around players aiming down gun barrels and delivering fiery death from massive cannons, the destroyer gameplay requires a bit more strategy and planning. In fact, while firing the torpedo is perhaps one of the easiest jobs in World of Warships, and destroyers are not alone in using them, they are probably the best at using them. Actually, yeah, I'm just going to go ahead and say they are definitely the best at using them. Unlike firing guns, which requires a lot of guesswork and practice, Wargaming made the firing torpedoes a little easy by giving you a handy predicted path the torpedoes will take once you fire them out of the torpedo tubes. While all of this is well and good, what really makes torpedo spamming challenging is how you deliver them, and delivering them all comes down to how well you drive your destroyer. The destroyer's #1 advantage is being invisible to ships on the map when it's more than 6 kilometers away, so use it to your advantage and don't do things that would break your invisibility. A caveat to this is your AA guns are controlled by AI, and they will always fire at aircraft that are right on top of you. To disable them, press P. There are some other good things you can do to support your visibility, one of which is to use camouflage paint job. While it won't increase the range of detection, it will make a ship firing at you have slightly less accuracy, which in something as fragile as a destroyer could mean life or death. Sometimes making a torpedo run is as easy as pressing the button on the ship that's right next to you, but a lot of times it's more complicated than that. Making a good torpedo run also requires evasive driving skills. The key to this is to never get under your enemy's gun sights, but should you start receiving those heavy caliber love bullets, remember these 2 things. Change your speed and adjust course. Firing at something traveling on a diagonal is the hardest type of firing in World of Warships, and thankfully, due to the destroyer's quick nature, if you know the direction and angle of the ship that is firing at you, you can maneuver pretty easily and dance through the shells as they are landing all around you. What gets complicated is when you start receiving fire from 2 or more targets. When this happens, I typically press the Y key, which toggles my speed boost, and pray for a clean getaway. However, that's not always the case, as you see. While it is possible to win a round of World of Warships by killing everyone on the enemy's team, the tried and true method of winning is to play the objective and concentrate your efforts on collecting the most points by the end of the match. Your role in this is to generally go on the offense and take out the enemy's carriers that are going to be hidden towards the back of the map. The carrier is a vital component in playing the objective in that it provides real-time information for a team on the location and position of ship concentrations. Once you take out the carrier, a team essentially loses its eyes and ears, and when that happens, you can concentrate on sneaking up and taking out those heavy-hitting battleships. Should you be one of the few remaining ships on field and the game is getting close to ending, make sure you spend your last few moments defending an objective or capturing one. For instance, if it's you and an enemy battleship that are left, chances are you might die trying to take out that battleship, but you can certainly beat the battleship across the map to capture an objective and thus ensure your team's victory. With victories, you'll level up faster and get into more exciting torpedo boats like the Japanese Tier 8 destroyer, the Fubuki. The perfect torpedo run happens when the enemy doesn't even see it coming. I like to go around the edges of a map and come at a battleship from behind while it's firing at something far off in the distance. I know that a lot of times battleships are concentrating so much on aiming and acquiring targets that they might not be looking around them for that unsuspecting destroyer like me. If I can get inside this visibility window, which again is less than 6 kilometers, and I don't see him maneuvering or reacting to my presence, I will get right on top of him, maybe 2 or 3 kilometers away before unleashing everything in my torpedo tubes. If you are fortunate enough to get a shot off like this, use your narrow spread and put all of your volleys into the center of that ship. This should cause flooding and unrecoverable damage, which should result in a dead battleship. If you start taking fire, pop smoke, evasive maneuver, and get out of there. Next, you can congratulate yourself as you should be seeing that ship destroyed ribbon popping up anytime. There are lots of other ways to kill ships with your torpedoes. You can even kill friendly ships, but the friendlies probably won't like you for it. Experiment and find a way that works best for you. I personally prefer the narrow spread for most of my torpedo runs because I like having another volley that I can quickly fire if the first one misses. Whereas if I fire all of them in the wide spread, I have to wait a long time for them to reload, and often when I'm doing that, the ship I'm shooting at might be able to get away. That said, if I'm firing into a blob of ships, I will use the wide spread almost every time. I will also use the wide spread if the ship is turning or trying to evasive maneuver, as I know, especially with a battleship, this means that they will have to eat at least one or two of them. Play around and see which one you like best. Lastly, get to know your keyboard commands. Using hotkeys can save you in a dangerous situation. One of the most important keyboard commands is pressing X for acquiring new targets. When I first started playing, I found that the AI acquires targets very weirdly, and it's quite frustrating, especially when there are several ships in close proximity. My experience improved greatly once I learned to press X and acquire targets by mousing over the ones you wanted to fire at. A word of warning though, it also turns on or off your torpedo guides, so be careful. All of this is well and good, but at the end of the day, there's going to be a lot of finesse that goes into driving each individual destroyer. As you gain more practice, you'll learn the quirks and advantages to each of them. I personally prefer the Japanese destroyer line because they are fast, agile, and ideal for using torpedoes. Some of the American line of destroyers are better with guns and supporting battleships and cruisers with AA. But there's certainly some good torpedo boats with them as well. I hope you found this video helpful. If you did, give us a like, leave a comment, or subscribe to get notifications when we publish more. I'm Marconius Porkbutt for TheMittani.com. Thanks for watching.